Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Best Books Ever. I'm Tyler, and today we are starting the last book, Mockingjay, by Suzanne Collins, chapters 1 through 14. First half of the last book. We're now getting the, uh, what's it called? Payoff. Payoff for everything that's happened in the first two books. As of now, I feel like we could say the first book was more so about the games, really introducing us to, the characters and the world and a little bit of the politics here and there. The games being the biggest one, right? Trying to get that like shock of what these people do. Second one, less about the games, more focusing on like the effect that the games, but also just how the capital runs the, I don't know, country or whatever it's called. Is it called country? Country of Panem? And then each one is like little districts, I guess. I don't know. More like the after effects and more like here's how these people are really, really treated and, all that. They're like mental states. Shows really how bleak everything is. So now those two things matched together. We're finally getting the payoff of all of that. Rebellion is happening. We're here. So very, very end, we have Gale's plan, where he is basically trying to flush out everyone in the nut, the mountain military base. And also on top of that, doesn't seem like he cares if everyone in the nut dies. Again, I feel like that's one thing that's always been part of Gale, right? Like even since the beginning, I feel like Katniss has always pointed out how vocal, when you really shouldn't have been, especially in the beginning, how vocal he was about the Capitol and what they do and what he thinks of them and what he thinks should happen to them. He's always been a little further down that line. So for him to suggest this plan is like, okay, that's sort of an interesting plan. But then the cherry on top with him like not caring about the lives within, he doesn't think twice about it because he's like, look at what has happened to us for decades. Look at what is happening to us, literally us right now, the people we love, all that stuff, right? Look at what they did to Peeta, which we'll talk about later, but it's like all this and I'm wrong for thinking that these people need to die. No. Again, that's more extreme. I feel like other people might look at the people in the nut and be like, well, how guilty are they really? Probably more guilty than the average Pan Am citizen, but are they evil? Like, are they snow? You know what I mean? Like, it hits this weird gray area where some people are very on one side and very on the other. But we will see. We literally ended it like right when he suggested it, so we don't know the specifics of the plan. Just that there's like landslides that they're going to maybe take advantage of. The ventilation system is not as good in 13, so that could very much lead to their deaths. But we will see. I think it's a decent plan. Yeah, just like, okay, this place is impenetrable. Good. Because we're gonna lock you all inside, and that'll take away like your food and your supplies and all that stuff. So we will see. We'll see if they get there. Yeah, and yeah, it's interesting. Cause I remember in this, and I'm like, I've read this book before, but I don't remember. Mockingjay is the book that I remember the least, like by far the least. I don't remember this part at all. Like the whole like I remember a little bit of them living in 13, but beyond that point, I'm like I didn't remember what happened to Peeta, which we'll get to. None of this stuff. So it's very interesting to see what happens with Gale's plan. But yeah, and I guess I mentioned it too many times. We will talk about Peeta right now. So we know that they return Peeta. Well, they didn't return. They returned with Peeta. All that stuff, whatever, right? The important part is that his brain was hijacked, which makes sense because even Boggs was like a little too easy to get Peeta, strangely easy to recover him. Probably because Snow didn't care. He was like, I'm done with him. I'm going to give you him hijacked. And so that'll hurt you even more. This is tough, though, because throughout this series, and if you have read along with a few of the other series I've done so far, the romance, big part of this, right? Big part of every book, cling to it. So with this being primarily a kind of like a romance, like dystopian type of deal, Katniss and Peeta, one of, if not the most important parts, important relationship in this entire series. And so for Snow to ruin that, truly, truly ruin that, hijacking his brain and making it so every time he sees Katniss, every time he thinks of Katniss, he goes insane. Hates her, wants to kill her, thinks she's lower than human, calls her a mutt, which is part of the like mutation stuff that they've seen before. That hurts. That hurts a lot. I don't remember what happens. Like I said, I probably remember like 20% of this book. And this is not part of the 20% that I remember. I don't know. Because like death is more likely now than ever, which is funny because the first two books literally had Hunger Games, battles to the death. But I think death is even more likely now just because we're at the end of the series. It is the climax, the rebellion, people literally going to war. This is where main characters die. Final books are where main characters die. I don't remember who or even if anyone dies. I don't know. But Peeta, the reason I'm saying that is because like I wonder if they take out Peeta, not like Katniss kills him or something, but yeah, I wondered because a big thing with their relationship is that like they love each other so much and all that or whatever, and they would both say that without you, the other one, I would have no reason to live. But I think that's 10 times more true for Peeta because Katniss, I mean, even now, right? Like, I think it was true before, but even now in this book, because Peeta's family's dead. Like, he's gone. He has nobody. Katniss has Prim and the mom and Gale. And even Haymitch to a degree. I guess Peeta has Haymitch to a degree, but we all know Haymitch was closer to Katniss, right? He chose Katniss, but yeah. So even if we take out Haymitch, she has family, people she's known forever that love her. So it'll be interesting to see if he goes, if he's gone. But anyway, yeah, I don't know what's going to happen to him because I think that if he doesn't recover from the hijacking, I don't know what the point of his character would be at this point. Like, I think it would end with him being hijacked I mean, he's still a person though. That's the thing. Like, it's just whenever anything gets towards the area of Katniss is when he kind of goes insane. He couldn't live a normal life outside of this. He just couldn't be anywhere near Katniss. Like, he would have to go to a different. I mean, but even with that, it's tough because your brain naturally makes connections, right? That's why you can think one thing and then 2 minutes later you're thinking of a completely different thing, and you're like, wait, how did I get here? And you kind of follow it back, and you're like, oh, because of this, then that, then that, then that. And so like him even trying to live a normal life, but then him thinking about his family. His family's dead. Well, how'd they die? Oh, there was a fire or something. Oh wait, why was there a fire? What caused the fire? Oh, it's because of the rebellion. Who's the who is the face of the rebellion? The Mockingjay, Katniss. You know what I mean? So even something as simple as that could boom, 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 get him to Katniss, and then he starts freaking out. So I don't know. I don't know what happens with Peeta. I would like to think that Prim's idea, right? We know that Prim had the idea to like reverse hijack him, right? So like hijack him, but in a good way, to kind of nullify the negativity and the fear and hostility towards memories and thoughts of Katniss. I'd like to think that works. That might be a little too simple of a plan. Just be like, oh, we just hijack him back. But we do know that hijacking very tough, very secretive. Even Beatty doesn't quite know exactly how it works. Um, I mean, they know, they know it uses like the tracker jacker stuff because something similar to that, but you can't really just put that in him to work because it naturally kind of makes you crazy and hostile and stuff. Um, yeah, I mean, if anyone can create, can like reverse engineer like a opposite Venom, it's probably Beatty. So we'll see. Um, just to finish up any Peeta stuff. Just one more thing with Peeta. I do like the moment where he warned them about the bombings. We were all kind of concerned about his well-being and then also his mental state. Whose side is he on? What is he doing? So for him to keep talking the talk like he was, clearly Snow was telling him what to say and all that, and then for him to struggle, like physically struggle to like choke out the words "dead by morning," and then they cut it and they beat him. It's not funny. Um, Interesting to see what happened there because was that like, were they already like hijacking him at that point? Was he fighting through that, or was it simply just he knows the consequences and he did the mental math in his head and he was like worth it? Because even like true Peeta, not this hijack Peeta, he would probably do it for that. He would say it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, the only thing that matters to me is that Katniss is alive. That is number one priority. Anything outside of that takes the back seat. So even if Peeta somehow knew about the hijacking, or maybe Snow told him and was like, "Hey, here's my threat," you know, I could still see Peeta again doing the math in his head, trying to sort out his feelings and being like, "I don't care. I don't care if you turn me into a monster and you turn me into someone who hates Katniss and wants to kill her every time I see her. Like me getting them words out and saving her." Because she most likely would have died, and her family definitely would have died because of the timing of the bombings. Maybe all that wrapped up in his head, and he decided, I don't care, this is worth it. Um, we will see. We'll see what happens, right? It's always how it is. Oops, I crossed out the wrong one. Um, I'll have to get back to that. Let me just do that. I'll do that instead. Speaking of love, very much enjoyed the what's the word when people rejoice? That's not the word. Um, Reunited. That's the word. Reunited Finnick and Annie. That was great. I love Katniss's um, description of what happened, where they like ran at each other with no regard for their safety. They just ran into like literally collided. They got uh, bounced off a wall almost because they truly love each other so much. And then she thought about that and she sat with it and she was like, there's no doubt between them two. Like that to me is something that me and Peeta don't have. Um, Even if we do love each other, which they 100% do, I think, in maybe slightly different ways, but I do think love each other. But then you look at Finnick and Annie, and it's like that's next level. That's something we don't have, I just really like that. I like to see Finnick happy too. I don't know if I said this already in an episode, but they really turned around Finnick for me. I feel like they did a great job of introducing Finnick at the very beginning, even before he was on screen. But then included with that of just this pretty boy who just kind of gets everything. Again, he is in one of the higher districts, not a career, because District 3 isn't a career district. But he, whatever, right? Maybe a little pompous, maybe a little spoiled, whatever. And then the more and more we see him, it's like, oh no, he's cool. He's a cool guy, and it sucks what happened to him with him mentally with like the fence and all that stuff. So for him to see Annie again, that's like perfect. Love that. Speaking of Finnick, I do have one more thing with him, I believe. He reveals that Snow used him as a slave. Basically sold his body. Um, awful, awful stuff. In hindsight, it makes complete sense. Makes complete sense that they would use Finnick like that, giving his looks. Makes complete sense that Snow and even the Capitol would condone and actually facilitate stuff like that. Just one more thing to add to their "we are evil" pile that is very rapidly growing. Um, Very tough for Finnick, I'm sure, to give that out to like as information, and even a bunch of other stuff too. A bunch of secrets, but like that one was about him. You know, that I'm sure definitely hit a lot of people because Finnick is a fan favorite. People love Finnick generally, so I'm sure him coming out and being like, "Hey, this is what happened to me." I'm sure that'll turn a lot of people. Not that that's like the breaking point between like I love the Capitol, but they did this to Finnick. Like, I'm sure that's not it, but I'm sure like him revealing that does push people a lot farther in the direction of rebellion that I'm sure they were already in. But again, just one more thing that the Capitol does. And just like, why would we, again, other than like the brainwash people in two, why would anyone side with the Capitol? Everyone is a slave to the Capitol. Even people in the Capitol, you know? So that was sad. That was very sad. Let's see. Some stuff about, speaking of Snow, Finnick reveals, and the secrets of Finnick, reveals that Snow utilizes poison quite often. Has used it, is using it, probably will continue to use it, poison. That tracks for me, and I think it also connects with Katniss because of like the weird like blood roses that he uses. I think Finnick even said that too. Like, that's why like he has them or whatever. Um, yeah, that's crazy. Um, Again, not like mind shattering where it's like, whoa, he uses poison, but it is like, hmm, another thing to add to the pile, you know. Because they say like, I mean, especially in stories like this, but also in real life, to get to a place like that, you probably have to do some heinous things, but um, that's bad. Just poisoning people. That's like, and then he wants to sit up there, and it's hate it, hate that. What else do we have? Let's talk about Cinna. Let's talk about Cinna. So initially, they kind of like the general consensus is that Cinna probably dead. Like he was beaten to a pulp, most likely tortured, most likely killed. No confirmation. We haven't seen his body or anything, but it's leaning that way. I mean, if I were to really say it, I'd probably say like there's like a 98% chance he's dead, because he was a big part in her becoming the Mockingjay even before she understood what that meant. With her, the clothing that she made for him was constantly a rebellion, constantly going against the games and therefore the Capitol and therefore Snow. Even that last one, having Snow demand that she wear the wedding dress during the interview before the quell, and then for Cinna to be like, okay, I'll do that, and then secretly making the wedding dress transform into a Mockingjay wedding dress live on TV. Not good, not good. Again, I love Cinna. Cinna is one of my favorite characters in the entire show, and I hope he's not dead. Or show. I don't know why I said show. Book. One of my favorite characters in the book. I really hope he's not dead. I really, really hope that we get a reunion between Cinna and Katniss, because Cinna was the rock. He was the rock that Katniss needed in the games. That could be outside of the actual games, because like Peeta and Haymitch were very, very, very involved in this. Cinna was slightly to the left, of all of it. Um, and on top of that, Cinna is still possibly beyond death. Cinna is still rooting for Katniss. I love the scene when, you know, Katniss is still on the fence. She's like, I don't know, I don't really deal with this. I don't want to do this Mockingjay stuff. Like, I'm not right for it. Blah blah blah. I don't want to be a part of this. And she doesn't trust 13, which we'll talk about some 13 trust after this. Um, but then for Plutarch to hand her Cinna's book with all of the Mockingjay outfits, all the different outfits that he designed for her that he didn't want her to see, until she, on her own, decided to be the Mockingjay. And I love the little note that he wrote in there too that said, "I'm still betting on you." Because if you remember, oh, that hurt. That got me for a second. I'm still betting on you. He said that to her before the first games. Said that I'm betting on you. I'm betting on you to win. And then before the Quell, he said the same thing. I'm still betting on you, Katniss. And so for him to leave that note for this third book before the rebellion, like it just means more and more each time. Um, and we know that was the thing that was the final push that she needed to be like, for Cinna, I'm gonna do this. But yeah, love Cinna, and I really hope he's not dead. That'd be very nice. I'd very much enjoy him to be alive. Oh wow, I had a couple more things that I remember. Let's talk about some other people as well. I've mentioned them already, but Haymitch mostly recovered from the uh, distrust that Katniss had for Haymitch, and also the other way too, because remember she did rip out the earpiece, and so Haymitch was then reverse mad at her. But seems we mostly moved past that. I love the moment though um, when she mine just went blank. I have my notes in front of me, but mine still went blank. That's crazy. Um, she right, okay, got it. She broke down because everything finally hit her. They were up on top of District 13 after the bombing, and everything hit her about what they did to Peeta. This was before they rescued her, but this was just after he warned them about it and all that stuff. And then everything kind of culminates into Peeta is being tormented, tortured, being controlled. He's probably lying in a cell somewhere in his own blood, not dead, but really, and everything really hit her at once, and she reached out for Haymitch, because Haymitch is the only one that can truly understand, because Haymitch is the only one that loves Peeta, in any similar way that I do. And I just love that moment for reaching out to Haymitch, because Haymitch does really care. He can be very rough sometimes, very rough around the edges. But I think he does really care about Peeta. I think he does really care about Katniss. That like tribute bond, that like mentor mentee bond, um, you know, all that stuff. So, I did end with them hitting her with the needle and making her go to sleep. But like, I just love that moment, where she's like crying and she's sobbing hysterically. She's not crying, and like, she's just talking about Peeta, like, oh, this is what they did to him. Like, I can't believe it. I wish we could have got him. What blah blah blah. Right? She's just rambling, and Haymitch is embracing her, just like, I know. Um, great moment. I loved it. I hope Haymitch doesn't die. I hope no one dies, except for Snow. Snow should die, but we'll see. What else do we have? Just a few more things left. Um, I love the kind of slogan that she spontaneously gives, where she's like, if we burn, you burn with us. Great thing. They're definitely still cruising on that girl on fire thing, that girl on fire theme ever since the very beginning. Thank you, Cinna, for doing that. Um, but yeah, I love the moment too because like trying to do the like pros, right? Pro pros or ad pros. I don't know. Still trying to do that. I can't really get it. I'll win the battle, whatever. And then after it, she gives this great speech, all this stuff. And again, this if we burn, you burn with us. Basically saying like, because the original one was something super cliche, just like, oh, we're here, we're fighting, and we won't back down or whatever. It's like, okay, whatever. Like that has no like it's very stale. It's something that Katniss would never say and never really be able to put her heart into when she delivers a line like that. So for this we and even what the phrase could mean literally, where it's like, hey, we could all go out, like all the rebels, all 13 and everything could die, and die in battle or whatever, but just know that if it gets to that point, we are going to do enough before we all breathe our final breath. We will do more than enough damage to take you all out with us. Like we are like, I think that's the great thing about this quote, whether Katniss was trying to deliver it this way or not, but it is just like, we don't care. You all care. You want to live. You want to stomp us out because you then want to rebuild. Probably way worse than it was before, like already. We don't care about that though. We will gladly give our lives to end the Capitol so that this does not happen again. That's the difference between us. We are, I don't know about desperate, because I definitely feel like the Capitol and Snow are very desperate at this point, because I don't think this is the same as what happened 75 years ago, back when they bombed 13. Like I said, I think the difference is Katniss. Maybe not Katniss specifically, but them just having this like figurehead leading the rebels. So again, I think that all boils down to, it does not matter what happens to us. It matters what happens to you, the Capitol. As long as you are gone, as long as you are defeated, as long as you are dismantled, never to be built up again, we don't care. We win. Like, if if we both lose, then guess what? We still win. You know. So I don't know. Maybe I'm looking a little too far into the quote. Like I said, she just said it. But that is the reason why I like it. And I guess we'll end on some District 13. Well, I guess that's not really true, but I'm not even going to frame it. There's just a couple smaller things I would like to talk about. I guess maybe some foreshadowing, maybe a little bit of foreshadowing, but Plutarch does give Katniss some nightlock pills, which are a reference to the berries that her and Peeta almost ate to win her first games. They end you. So again, I mentioned the word foreshadowing. I don't know. I think that could be a very, I'm gonna use this word again, cliche ending to a series for Katniss to kill herself. For just end it all. Maybe they're in a position where that makes sense. That's fine. I'm not saying that would be a bad ending. I'm just being very interested to see how they play it, because like I said, stories like that have been told a million times. Even before this book, I know this book is not a new book, but still, if it does end that way, or maybe it's a lie. Maybe she gives them to somebody else, either willingly or unwillingly. Her giving Nightlock to someone else to kill them is crazy, though. Like, that's kind of insane. But anyway, I just wanted to mention that because, like I said, it is a reference to the berries, and when they're given, it's with the pretense of like, we're important, we know a lot of stuff. Two things: we're important, we know a lot of stuff. If we get captured and worst comes to worst, boom, end it, because we cannot afford to give up any sort of secrets, any information. willingly or unwillingly. Last thing may be something that at this point we're kind of glazing over, but I do want to mention it. Katniss's prep team got punished very severely to the point where they were shaking in their boots that they weren't wearing. That was tough. That was very tough to see. Just because, like, glad to see them. Like, all in all, glad to see them. Glad to see they're alive. But I think, the reason why I sort of pretense this with District 13 trust issues is because, like, we're at a point in the rebellion where, I mean, it's already way too far gone, right? And, like, one side is going to win definitively. And you look at the Capitol, like, clearly they're the bad guys. Clearly they're the evil ones. Look at all they've done over the decades and decades, right? All that stuff. But then I don't think we should let that cloud our judgment and think, well, anyone against the Capitol is automatically good. Because how good is District 13? Like, are they? Like, is, Colin or Colin, or no, Coin? I don't know. Whatever. The leader, the president of 13, like, are they good? Like, are they going to be chill and cool? And, do they have everything set in place? And are they not going to become like a dictator? Are they not going to become Snow? Like, even some of the stuff here is like very, very controlling. And it's presented in a way where it's like, okay, well, it has to be this way because of our numbers and because of we have to be secret and because, we are self-sufficient. So everything has to be regulated in a certain way. It's like, okay, cool, but you do kind of run this like a military base and it's not. So it's like, I don't know, there are some weird things here and there. And then, getting back to what I started with the prep team being punished, it's like they're new. Like, did you have to do that? Like, there's no, like, they're clearly important. Like why couldn't they have been given some information about what's happening? Maybe accommodated a little better. Like, it's all very strange. It's all very cold and robotic in 13. And it's like, is that going to spread? If 13 wins, is that going to be what Pan Am turns into? Because that's probably better than what the Capitol and Snow have going on right now. But I don't think that's good and ideal. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Again, I think that that's something that could turn into nothing. It could just be Katniss being a little paranoid. It could just be them having to iron out some of those details, and it will be better. The future is bright. But I do think it's something important to remember just a little bit, just to keep in the back of your mind and say, is 13 the right choice with the way that they want to do things? Can they be trusted? Fully. So we'll see. We'll see. But that is it. That is Mockingjay. First part. We're going to do the other part next week, where we read 15 through 27, the end of the book and the trilogy. So, a few things here. First, if you like that, please go watch or listen to the other episodes up on the Tiger T YouTube channel where you can view them, video version or other podcast services for you to listen to them. Also, there are some other videos on the Tiger T channel that are not this. Me and my friend Ray have recorded a few fun little videos there, anime focus or like discussion, fun having, and other stuff we plan on doing in the future. So that's cool. Now back to this podcast. Like I said, we are going to finish Mockingjay. I do just want to update people on that though. Like, after Mockingjay, just so you have enough time, right? After Mockingjay, we are going to do the prequel book, which I don't know the name off the top of my head. I think it's Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I believe that's the title. I've never read that. I think a movie also came out very recently. I didn't watch, maybe last year. Didn't watch the movie. I do want to watch it though, because it does have Hunter Schafer in it. I don't know what her role is, but I like Hunter Schafer. She was very cool in Euphoria. But anyway, I know nothing about that story. The only thing I know is that I am fairly certain that it's a prequel that focuses on Snow and kind of like Snow's rise to power, which is interesting, I think. And then after that, um, we are going to the end of the Hunger Games series that we're doing. Well, actually, that's not true. I don't know why I said that. Let me just rewind a second. In the future, when it comes out, I think next year, we are going to do the other prequel that Suzanne like literally just announced a few weeks ago, which I think is going to focus on Haymitch's Hunger Games. That's pretty cool. Just wanted to mention that, just kind of remind y'all of what's going on with the series and what we're doing. After this series, though, got another fun one for you. Not going to tell you what it is. You'll have to wait a couple weeks to when we end the Songbirds book, but very, very, very excited for it. And with that, if you have any other, just any series you want me to, I guess any books too. We're kind of been focusing on series mostly, but series or standalones, whatever that you want me to read on here, please let me know in the comments. I don't know how you'll do it if you just do the podcast. I don't know. Leave a review, and then in your review, put your recommendation, I guess. I don't know. And yeah, that is it. Until next time, read the chapters 15 through 27. That's the end of the book. Very end, we'll finish it, and we'll see what happens with Katniss and Peeta and Haymitch, and I hope Cinna is alive.